Welcome, everybody. This is an audiobook of my book series, because I sat and thought about what I went through over the last few weeks and decided that I needed to put positivity back into the universe. Now, while there will be a physical copy of this and e-reader copies of this, I still have my heart and soul in this YouTube channel. And that being said, I have a very small following, mostly friends, that deserve to have the book in their hands ahead of everybody else. Now, some of you are going to find this is going to be a shock. This isn't the novel you read in my Discord. It's not. That was a precursor. This is the actual novel, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. This is the second to last edit, by the way, not the final edit. Because of my health, I was not able to complete a lot of what needed to be done for the final edit. And I apologize for any stuttering that might be going on or any coughing. It's not going to be perfect. This is going to be my voice, though. And it's important that this be known to people, because there's a message I want to get across. And the message is that people need to be kind to one another. And the world needs to exist on love. Now, yes, it is kind of, it's my own take on a superhero universe. You're not going to see a lot of mushy stuff. I have my own rules, background rules that I have established, and you can find them here on the YouTube channel somewhere. But for all intents and purposes, you guys are going to get the book series here on YouTube. Now, following, people will come here and get to hear all the audiobooks. That's fine. And get to hear the author and how I interpreted it. That being said, let's begin. Now, you're going to see some differences here in that the chapter heading is not a chapter. It's like a comic book. The chapters are comic book issues, like issue number 1. And if you hear other voices, that's just my neighbors being assholes. And I can't do anything about that. That being said, let's begin. Akira Kizzau, and Aspects of Mourn novel by Mike L. Manders, a.k.a. Geekanomicon. Me. Copyright 2023, Mike L. Manders. Issue number 1, Sewer Run. As the alarm went off, Kizzau reached out for it to silence its repeating beeps. She could barely comprehend why the clock moved steadily out of her reach. After a turn attempt to deactivate the alarm, she pulled the cover off her head to look for the infuriating device. Her wife, Ariane, held the clock just out of reach. No fair, Kizzau said, letting her hand drop to the bed. Would you really like me to go into the sewers alone? Ariane asked. Kizzau looked at her wife carefully, noting she was already wearing her samurai armor, sans the helmet. Lately, Ari had opted not to wear anything atop her head, relying instead on protective spells supplied by their druid friend, Melissa. Her auburn hair was tied back in a high top knot. Kizzau loved the look. Yawning, Kizzau stood and walked over to the wall where her own armor was mounted, ready for the day. No, how did we draw the short straw for this month anyway? There are more than a few heroics that live in the sewers, but I guess even they need a break now and then. Reaching up, she removed her dark gray leather from the wall and pulled the uniform over her tights. Unlike her wife, she favored a helmet with goat-like horns curving back. The two had agreed to wear white. With a trim of their own choice, Kizzau favored lavender highlights. Lastly, she removed her short sides from the wall and rested them within the straps on her back. the paired weapons had served her well over the years. Making her way to the kitchen, Kizzau saw a familiar puff of smoke indicating their pet dwarf mimic, Pratchett, was trying to get her attention. Don't look now, Ari said. I think we may have some company on our trek through the sewers. Pratchett has been growing restless lately. He tried to eat on my microphone yesterday, Kizzau giggled. I suppose you can come with us. I mean, redcaps are afraid of him. Better apply the tether to him so he can't stray too far from us in there. Looking up, she saw her wife scabbard both her katana at her hip. The two elves exchanged smiles as the dwarf mimic darted between them as if sensing what was about to happen. Drawing a symbol in the air, Kizzau waited for a small rune to appear and float down to their pet. The tether spell would keep Pratchett within 100 yards of them while in the sewers. Want your morning coffee? Ari asks, motioning to a thermos she had prepared for Kizzau. Ew, no, Kizzau replied. I'll wait until we're done. Something tells me my stomach is going to grumble at me a lot down there. We can celebrate after at the coffee shop. Besides, the anti-contaminant spells of the place will purge us of any funk that might get on us. Placing her mask over her face, Kizzau activated the internal visor that gave her readouts of everything around her. She looked over at Ari and watched with immense glee as the words wife and forever love popped on the screen. Looking down at Pratchett, she saw his emoji snap into place beside him. News feeds from the core aspect scrolled for a moment before showing that a few heroics are already about helping the citizens of Atlas Central. Want to check and see if Gertrude is back? Ari asked, opening the door to the balcony beyond. The pair lived in a forest, in a treehouse molded from the tree itself. Below them, in a clearing, there was an open-air shack that housed one of the totems of Mourn. To say it was Gertrude's home would be an overstatement, as she seemed to live on the go. With our luck, she will show up while we were on patrol, Kizzau said, stepping up to the inactive portal that would take them to the outskirts of Atlas Central. Let's see if your sister managed to sneak away from the Withers long enough to go on patrol with us. A moment before you activate the portal, Ari said, stepping in front of her wife. She placed a hand on Kizzau's shoulder, forcing her wife to stop before touching the stone that would give them access to the core aspect of Mourn. Do you know what day it is? Tuesday, Kizzau said, puzzled, but after a few moments, memories trickled at the back of her mind. It's our anniversary. We met 20 years ago today. I have a gift waiting for you at the coffee shop. Now, I really want to get this whole run over with. Maybe we can skip through the introductions and just patrol. I have something for you now, her wife said, removing something from a table near the portal. Last week I went to a bookstore and found someone sitting there looking over her father's works. After a bit of a talk, she left and returned with this and a promise she could meet our little friend at a future date. Deal, Kizzau said, hurriedly taking the present and opening it. This is the first edition of The Color of Magic. I'm almost afraid to touch it. Oh, Ari, I really didn't get you anything. I've been so wrapped up in streaming and therapy, I forgot about us. Stepping forward, Ariane Winterheart pulled her wife into an embrace. I've never held you to the ideals of gifts. Your heart is all I desire. Being at your side is the most important gift you can ever give me. Tilting Kizzau's face up, she kissed her. The two remained together for a long moment before a beep came from both of their earpieces. For once, I'm the one that's late. Not the one that's late, said a voice with a low growl mixed with words. Are you two smooching or just waiting to make a grand entrance? Stepping through the portal as we speak, Hari said, tapping the activation crystal. A pool of lavender smoke poured onto their deck from the portal. Kizzau quickly placed the book just inside the door, and before taking hold of Ari's hand, together they stepped through the portal and onto the sidewalk of Biscuit Corner. And with that, I will see you guys in the near future with part 2 of this first issue. Thank you for listening.